Okay, so good morning to everyone. So I am so sorry na nakalipas yung 2 months natin on not meeting you regarding our research papers. So I decided now just to record the discussion so that everyone can catch up, those who are working, those who can not able to attend the discussion. So you can also go back to our discussion. So I will upload this in our YouTube so that you can replay it and play it all over again to review. So um, today I will discuss the whole paper on how to write it. I will also give you a sample and also the format. So this will be the requirements. So since we don't have so much time to finish your research, I decided that you can that you can now proceed to chapter 1, 2, and 3 to those groups na meron ng approved title. So you can now proceed to chapter 1, 2, and 3. And if you will agree, then you can proceed to chapter 4 and 5 as well. So you can finish all the papers and then I will check it. The only risk of this is that may chances na mali lahat from chapter 1 to chapter 5. That's the risk. And the advantage is that you can finish the research paper. Yun nga lang, ang risk factor niya is pwedeng mali siya. Pwede ko siyang ipaulit, the whole paper. That's why ang way ko ng pag-check talaga is per chapter. So since we don't have so much time na, so I decided na you can finish your chapter 1 hanggang chapter 3, or you can also finish from chapter 1 to chapter 5. Okay, so after you're done with your research paper, you will submit it to me and I will check it and then I will return it to you when there is a revision. Kung wala namang revision, I can um, advise you for the defense. So, ayun. So, for now, I will discuss the guidelines in writing research paper. So, alam ko na-discuss ko na yung first chapter 1 and chapter 2 of this. But then again, I will repeat it again for those who can not be able to attend the class last time. And also, for the review na rin. Kasi medyo 1 month to 2 months tayo hindi nakapag-discuss. Okay. So before I forget, you can raise your questions to our official group chat, or you can raise your questions in the comment section. So nanonotify ako. Okay. So let's now proceed first in discussing the guidelines in writing research paper. So we all know these are the main parts of the research paper. We have the preliminaries, we have the text and the reference materials. When we say preliminaries, this section includes the title page, the acknowledgement, the dedication, table of contents, list of tables, and the list of figures. So the sample of that is this one. So if you can see here, I think I hope it's clear. Let me just adjust it so you can see it clearly. Okay, so this will be the title page. Okay, so this is just a sample. This is just a sample. So this is a title page, and this will be the abstract. This will be the last paper or the last part of your research paper na gagawin ninyo. Okay, so I will show you the dedication, the table of contents later on, okay? Next is the text body. So this section consists of the following. So ito na yung laman ng chapter 1. The title of the chapter 1 is the research problem. Okay, so when we say chapter 1, the title of the chapter 1 is the research problem. And we have here the introduction, we have the theoretical framework, we have the conceptual framework, we have the statement of the problem. Of course, when we say statement of the problem, that is in question type. The objectives of the study is in the statement type. We have the hypothesis, we have the scope, the limitation and limitation, the significance of the study, and the definition of terms. The chapter 2 will be the review of related literature and studies. Always remember, chapter 1 is the research problem. Hindi po introduction ang pangalan ng chapter 1. That is the research problem. In chapter 2, ang title ng chapter 2 is the review of related literature and studies. Ang laman niya is related literature, related studies, and the synthesis. Next is the chapter 3. The name of the chapter 3 is the research methodology. Ang laman niya is the research design, respondents, the subjects of the study, data gathering instrument, data gathering procedure, statistical treatment of the data, and then the chapter 4 and 5, chapter 4, ang pangalan niya is presentation, analysis, and interpretation of data. And the chapter 5 is the summary, findings, conclusions, and recommendations. Para lang maging clear sa lahat, again, ang title ng chapter 1 is the research problem. So, dapat ang laman ng chapter 1 ninyo is itong mga naka-bullet type. We have the introduction, we have the theoretical framework, and so on. Okay? So, ito yung sample niya. Okay. So, in here, ayan. Ang chapter 1, hindi siya introduction. Ito yung sinasabi ko sa inyo. Hindi sa format natin, sa format ng Grace Mission College, ang chapter 1 is the background of the study. And then here in the background of the study is the introduction. Okay, just to be clear, ang pangalan ng chapter 1 is background of the study. Okay? So, ang mangyayari niyan is ganito rin ang gagawin yung format, yung logo ng Grace Mission College, the chapter 1 and the background of the study, and then proceed sa introduction. Next with the introduction is we have the statement of the problem. So, ganyan lang din ang gagawin ninyo. Okay? Let's go back first in here before we proceed to our discussion. So let's proceed to the chapter 1. So ganito dapat ang laman ng inyong pen. Chapter 1, the research problem. So the chapter 1 is heading. The heading is capitalized. Always remember naka-capitalize ang chapter 1 and the research problem. The usual parts of chapter 1 are introduction, theoretical framework, conceptual framework, statement of the problem, hypothesis of the study, scope limitation and the limitation of the study, and the significance of the study, and lastly is the definition of terms. So dapat walang magkulang dyan, lahat nasa papel ninyo. How will you write the introduction? So the primary goal of the introductory paragraph is to catch the attention of the readers and to get them turned on about the subjects, just like what I've discussed dati na introduction. Dapat pag binasa ng reader, pag binasa ng ibang mga students, nakita nila agad kung ano yung nire-research ninyo. Dapat mag-catch yung attention nito na, okay, ito yung nire-research nila. So the introduction often contains general statements about the need for the study. So dapat naka-include din doon ano yung pinag-aaralan ninyo, ano yung problema, and ano yung tina-target ninyong malaman. It also includes legal bases such as relevant pronouncements from authorities, memoranda, orders, laws, and guidelines. So, syempre, we are doing research, dapat lahat ng gagaling sa facts. So, dapat may legal basis kayong nakita doon. Hindi kayo dapat kukuha ng mga information na walang validity and reliability, just like the Wikipedia. So, hindi mo siya pwedeng pagkatiwalaan kasi it can edit by everybody. Okay? So, guidelines in writing introduction. So, number 1, describe the problem situation by considering global, national, and local situation and using the deductive line of reasoning. So, in here, you can start your writing your first paragraph by stating what is the situation globally or in the country or nationally. So, ano yung problem ninyo? Just like here in our sample. Let me show you the example. Ayan. In the introduction, they started to define what is family planning kasi yun yung topic nila. So, define nila yung family planning and then nilagay nila dito yung naging problem. So over the decades, family planning has evolved from a focus solely on the contraceptives. Tapos nilagay nila dito yung challenges. Ano yung naging challenges pagdating sa family planning? So in many cases in the Philippines, particularly in rural areas, there are gaps in access to quality services. Ito na yung nilagay nilang problem. The unmet need for family planning results in unintended pregnancies. So, dapat itong information na to is nanggaling sa facts. Okay? Kailangan galing sa mga sources na valid and reliable. Okay? Next. Justify the existence of the problem situation by citing statistical data and authoritative sources like the related studies, literature, constitutions, laws, orders, ordinance, circulars, memoranda, rules, and the like as basis to support the problem. So the example of that here is for example, ito, naglagay sila dito ng rates. Among these challenges, family planning remains a significant issue. Nakalagay dito is access to healthcare services is limited and traditional values around fertility in rural health data shows that 9.87% of households use family planning in the year 2023. Na may nakalagay din dito, it increased in 10.15%, though it is an important achievement. So, meron silang nakalagay dito ng mga datas kung bakit nagkaroon ng problem, ano yung current status ng kanilang problem. So, same as you, ganun din ang gagawin ninyo sa inyong format. You have to justify the problem by citing as statistical data and authoritative sources. So again, kailangan yung sources ninyo is galing sa valid and reliable sources. Hindi dapat siya, porket nakita nyo sa Google, yun na yung ilalagay ninyo. Okay? Number three, indicate what is wrong in the present system and explain the desire to discover ways of enriching or improving something, thus the conduct of the study. So, pwedeng ilagay niyo doon yung current status niya. For example, here in our example, tingnan natin if may nakalagay doon. Um, Ayan, may nakalagay sila dito ng significant importance and relevance ng study nila. Bakit mahalagang pag-aralan ang family planning in the rural health areas? Okay? Tapos nilagay din nila dito yung mga challenges ng mga family planning sa rural health areas. Okay? So, pwede kayong mamili sa ganun. You can use the significance or relevance of the study. You have to, or also you have the options to state the what is wrong in the system and explain it kay bakit kailangan nandun yung needs ninyo na to conduct the study. Next is number four, cite motives and justification in the conduct of the study. A clinching statement is made to relate the background of the study to research problems. Ito yung sinasabi ko sa inyo na you have to indicate the relevance and the significance of the study. Bakit kailangan siya pag-aralan? Bakit kailangan malaman ninyo yung current status? Bakit siya kailangan mag-conduct ng research? Number five, maintain an objective tone throughout the paper. Keep in mind that a research paper is a formal exposition of a research problem, not a forum of a personal opinion. I always say this to you. I also discussed this to you last time na avoid using your personal opinion. Again, your research paper is based on facts. Okay? Parang ito is compilation ng mga facts. Hindi ito compilation ng personal opinion niyo regarding the situation or regarding the problem. So you have to maintain the objectivity. So I will ask you during the defense where this came from, what is your sources, is this your personal opinion, and etc. Okay. Number six, present the introduction in 3 to 5 pages using the third person point of view. So the requirement of our introduction or the background of the study or the chapter one is 3 to 5 pages. So Again, avoid using the first and second person. Please use the third person, just like the researcher. So if you are referring to yourselves, use the researcher. Don't use I or we or they. Okay, so that's all with the chapter one. That is the research problem. So let's now proceed to the theoretical framework. Again, introduction. We are just done in discussing the introduction. Next, let's proceed to the theoretical framework. So this is the second part of the background of the study. So theoretical framework is commonly used for studies that anchor on time-tested theories that relate the findings of the investigation to underpinning relevant theory of knowledge. So again, the theoretical framework, you have to look for theories that will support your data. This can be found in Google. Again, you have to check the validity and the reliability. Again, when we say theoretical framework, that is theories that will support your research. So this is the sample of the theoretical framework. I hope meron sila dito, no? Before we proceed pala sa theoretical framework, sa introduction, in on the last paragraph of the introduction, you have to discuss briefly what type of research you have, here. Oh, therefore, the study aims to explore how various factors such as accessibility and blah blah blah. Ayun. So, kailangan yung i-discuss dyan what is your goal. Next, in theoretical framework, we have here, ayan, theoretical framework. Before you discuss your theories, you have to create or include here some sentences lang na mag-introduce what is theoretical framework, and then you can proceed to your theory. So for example here, the health belief model proposed by Erwin M. Rosenstock. So in discussing your theoretical framework, all I need is what is the name of the theory, who is the proponent, and kailan siya na-publish. Ayun. So, hindi magiging valid yung theories ninyo kung wala yung pangalan, sino yung proponent, and kailan nyo yun na-publish. And after that, you have to discuss what is HBM says. Um, kung ano yung sinasabi ng theory na yun and bakit siya sinusupport yung research ninyo. Okay? So, kailangan nyo siyang maipaliwanag. So, after that, you have to um, you have to look also for the model. So, kailangan may model siya. And from that model, kung may mga content yung model, kung may mga variables siya, you have to explain it also. Okay, so para maintindihan ng readers na, okay, this is the model or this is the theory. And then, the most important thing is you have to justify bakit siya gagamitin sa inyong research. Okay, that's the very important part of the theoretical framework. Discuss why is it related to your research paper, bakit siya gagamitin, and ano yung nilalaman nung 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 theory na yon. So, I don't require number of theories. Pwede kayong maglagay ng one theory lang, two theories, um, kung saan kayo komportable. Pero kasi the more theory you have, the more maganda siya. Kasi during defense, if hindi siya nasuportahan, kunwari isa lang yung niligay ninyo at hindi siya nasuportahan, hindi nasuportahan ng theory yung research ninyo, magkakaproblema kayo sa defense. That's why I suggest na you at least have one to two theories siguro para maging safe lang tayo. Okay, so please take note of that. So I hope it is clear to everyone. So if you have any questions again, you can raise it in our GC again, or you can comment in our um, comment section. So please make sure that you put your location, your area so that I can identify it easily. Okay. Next, after the theoretical framework, we have the conceptual framework. Conceptual framework that is, so this refers to the actual ideas, beliefs, and a tentative specifically support the study. So again, in the conceptual framework, eto na yung idodrawing mo, yung pinaka summary ng research mo. Kumbaga parang sa bahay, ito yung plano. Ito yung ginagawa ng mga architect. So dapat nakatable siya. Okay? So kaya nakalagay dyan, this is the actual ideas or beliefs or the tentative theory para ma-support yung study mo, para alam lang ng mga readers na okay, ito yung mangyayari. Okay? So parang sa pelikula, trailer siya. So it is primarily a conception or a model of what is out there that the researcher plans to study. So again, ito nga, sabi ko sa inyo, ito yung parang pinaka-layout ng pinaka buong research ninyo. So you will use models. Okay? We have here the conceptual paradigm. So it is a schematic diagram or illustration depicting what the concept of a study is all about. So again, you will use the conceptual paradigm. So the diagrammatic presentation may be in a box form. You can use rectangle, square, round, triangle, depending on the nature of the study. So depende sa inyo yan kung how you will present your study. So this is the example of the conceptual framework. So we have, again, di ba na-discuss ko na to last time? So discuss na lang natin ulit. So number one, you can use the IVTV. So when we say IVTV, that is the independent variable and the dependent variable model. So ito kasi yung IVTV na 'to ginagamit lang natin if you choose the, quantitative. Kasi kapag quantitative very ano siya, complicated. So kapag kasi quantitative, you use statistical data, you use numbers, you solve your data. So yun, kapag quantitative yung research ninyo, you will use the independent and the dependent variable. So, ito yung example niya. So, you have to identify the independent, to extent of study habit of students, and the dependent is level of mathematics. And then here, ano yung magiging result? So, you identify the independent and the dependent. Ano yung magiging result ng study ninyo? So, after your research, ano mangyayari? So, nakalagay dito, proposed intervention program. Okay? Number two type is, ito yung nire-recommend ko sa inyo na gamitin. This is the IPO. So when we say IPO, that is the input. Sta- um, the stands for the input, and then the P stands for the process, and the O stands for the output. Okay, so here you have to just identify the input. So the input is, what is your problem? What is the problem of your study? The process is, what it's a statistical data or instrument you will use to gather your data, and then the output will be, what will be the result of your research. So that is the IPO model. So yun yung sinasabi ko sa inyo na, I prefer to use the IPO model. Okay, instead of the IVDB. Kasi sa IVDB, ito, tatlo lang siya kasi pinasimplify lang siya. Pero sa totoong buhay, medyo mahirap siyang unawain and mahirap pa siyang i-defend. So that's why I suggest na gamitin ang IPO. That is the input, the process, and the output. Again, when we say the input, what is the problem in the study? The process is, what research instrument will you use, and the output is, what is the result of your study. Hindi sinabing ano yung resulta ng ng research ninyo. What I'm saying is, ano yung magiging um, contribution niya in school, in the society, in the community, and etc. So, let's see, ano ba yung example ng conceptual framework natin. Ayan. So, dito, sa example nila, gumamit sila ng IVTV. Ayan. Ito yung independent na sinasabi ko sa inyo. So, very complicated siya if titingnan mo siya. Pero kung gagamit lang kayo ng IPO dito, this is very easy kasi you will just put one box here and lalagay mo lang dun yung problem. Pero dito kasi super complicated siya kasi you have to identify the independent kasi itong arrow na to may explanation pa and arrow pababa may explanation pa rin. So this is the example of the IVDP. Ayan. So after mo siyang gawin, you have to explain the relationship of those. Halimbawa, itong social demographic, you will explain this one. And then yung arrow na ito, explain mo rin siya. Bakit yung social demographic may arrow papunta sa level of awareness? You have to explain everything in your diagram. Okay, so this is the example. So, kapag gumawa kayo ng diagram, you have to explain everything. Kapag hindi mo siya na-explain ng ayos, kailangan mo magkakaroon ng revision. Ibabalik sa inyo yung papel. Okay? So that is the conceptual framework. Next will be the statement of the problem. So we are done discussing the introduction, the theoretical framework, and the conceptual framework. So let's now proceed to the statement of the problem. So when the statement of the problem is there are two problems to state. So that is one of that is the major, that is the general or the main problem. And second one is we have the minor, that is the specific problems or the sub problems. So the statement of the problem is the focal point of your research. Bakit siya sinabing focal point of your research? Kasi ito yung purpose kung bakit kayo may research. Ito yung purpose kung bakit kayo magkakandak ng research is because meron kayong problem, merong questions na kailangan i-discuss, kailangan suportahan ng inyong data. So again, in the statement of the problem, meron kayong dalawa na kailangan gawin. We have the major, that is the general or the main problem. Next is the minor. Yung minor, yung specific problems na or the sub-problems. Okay? So, for example here, this study, while the sub-problems we begin with specifically this study. So, let me give you an example. So, um, okay. Punta tayo sa statement of the problem niya. So, nakalagay sa taas natin, the statement of the problem is in a question form. Ayan. Meron, eto na kasi, wala siyang major problem. So, kailangan, meron kayong major problem dito. Ano yung question ninyo, pinaka-problem ng research ninyo. So, ito kasi minor na to, kaya nakalagay dito specifically this seeks to ensure the following questions. So, meron siyang mga questions siyan regarding pa rin sa topic niyo, which is the family planning. So, again, before you proceed in writing the statement of the problem, kailangan meron kayong konting introduction, ano yung in-expect ng readers doon sa halimbawa statement of the problem, ano yung statement of the problem na yun. Okay, so again, when we say statement of the problem, that is a form of questions na at the end of your research, you will discuss it, you will answer it, and supported it with your data na nagather, um, yung data ninyo from your theoretical framework and yung data ninyo from your chapter 2. Okay, so again, that is the statement of the problem. I don't have any requirements kung ilan yung questions ninyo as long as lahat ng problems ninyo sa title ninyo will cover it. Okay? After the statement of the problem, we have the objectives of the study. Okay? Ito, determine the name of the okay. Pagdating sa objectives of the study is you will just um, transform or you will just make your statement of the problem into statement. So for example, ang nakalagay dito is what is the name of the respondent? That is your statement of the problem. ang objectives of the study mo na is determine the name of the respondent. So we'll just transform your statement of the problem into objectives of the study, which is the statement. So this is the example of the, okay, so this is the example, no? Statement of the problem natin is, what is the socio-demographic profile of the respondents in terms of the following, the age, gender, and the blah, blah, blah. So when we go to the objectives of the study, nakalagay doon is identify the socio-demographic characteristics of the respondents, including age, gender. So, transform lang natin itong question type natin na statement of the problem into statement, which is the objectives of the study. Okay? So, malinaw sana sa atin, no? Wala kayong babaguhin, wala kayong idadagdag. Ang gagawin niyo lang is you will just transform the question type into statement type. So that is the objectives of the study. So let's now proceed to the next. Okay, we have the hypothesis. Okay, so medyo complicated that, pero madali lang din siyang isulat. So the hypothesis is, the research hypothesis is the statement of your assumptions about the prevalence of a phenomenon or about relationship between two variables that you plan to test within framework of the study. So again, when we say hypothesis, ito lang yung tatandaan ninyo. That is your assumptions. Ito yung hinuhulaan ninyo na magiging resulta ng research ninyo. So of course, it's because of assumptions, kailangan negative and positive yung magiging result niya. Okay, so ang hypothesis din, ito yung papatunayan ninyo. Ito yung itetest ninyo. Ito yung purpose why you will gather a data. Okay? Hypothesis also is required if significant relationship or difference between or among variables is measured. So again, in the hypothesis area, we have the two types. So again, ito yung tinetest ninyo. Ito yung pinapatunayan nyo. So of course, dapat positive and negative yung statement ninyo. So when you say, pakitandaan, ito ha, when you say alternative hypothesis, ito yung H. HO yung kanyang symbol. So when we say alternative or which is HO, this is the positive statement or the assumptions. Positive statement siya na assumptions natin. Null hypothesis, which is the H1, this is the negative statement or negative statement na assumptions natin. So again ha, pwede itong lumabas sa exam natin. What are the two types of hypothesis? We have the alternative hypothesis and we have the null hypothesis. So the symbol of the alternative is the HO and the symbol of the null hypothesis is the H1. So when we see alternative, that is a positive assumption. When we see null hypothesis, that is the negative assumption. So this is the example of the hypothesis. Nasaan na siya? Ayan, ito na yung example ng hypothesis natin. Ano nga pag sinabi nating H1? Okay, so when we say H1, so ito yon, there is statistical significance, significant difference in the distribution of a family planning methods used among different social demographic. Ayun, so again, I'm so sorry. Let's first go back here. Nagkaroon lang tayo na, ayan, technical. So when we say alternative, that will be your H1. So pwede siyang maging H1 or HA. And then when we say null hypothesis, that will be our HO. Okay, so again, let me just clarify it. When we say alternative hypothesis, you can use H1 or HA. When we say null hypothesis, that will be the HO. Okay. in here in our example, since kasi sinabi ko sa inyo, di ba, IVDV yung ginamit nila, so very complicated siya. Kaya yung hypothesis nila is more on alternative lang, pero tatlo siya. Pero sa atin, I will just require you, just provide me an HA and HO, one alternative and one hypothesis. Here in hypothesis, when we say, di ba sinabi natin na ano siya, positive statement or positive assumptions. That's why this is statistically significant. Pero kapag ang example niya ay, ang example niya HO, ang mangyayari lang dyan is, you just copy this one, ang ating null hypothesis, ang nakalagay lang dyan, no. There is a statistically no, there is no pala. I'm so sorry. There is no statistically Ayan, there is no statistically significant. So, naging negative statement na yung hypothesis natin. So, I hope this is clear to everyone. So, when we say alternative, again, that is the positive statement. Ang kanyang symbol is H1 or HA. And then sa null hypothesis, we have the negative statement or the negative assumptions. Our symbol for that is the HO. Okay? Next. We have the scope, limitation, and the limitation of the study. So the study should indicate the coverage of the study. So again, we have the scope, di ba? We have the scope, limitation, and the limitation. So when we say scope, that is the coverage. Ano yung sako ng inyong study, hanggang saan yung study ninyo. That will be your scope. You don't have, in writing the scope, limitation, and the limitation of the study, you don't have to put it scope, tapos lalagay nyo sa baba yung scope. And then limitation, ilalagay nyo sa baba yung limitation. So, hindi. First paragraph will be your scope. Understood na yun ng reader. Understood na rin siya ng panelist na the first paragraph will be your scope, the second paragraph will be your limitation, and the third paragraph will be your delimitation of the study. So again, in your first paragraph, that will be your scope. Ang sasabihin mo doon is, ano yung coverage ng study mo? Ano lang yung pinag-aaralan mo? Next is the limitation. So when we say limitation, ano yung weaknesses? Ano yung shortcomings ng study ninyo? Bakit hindi siya puwedeng gamitin, hanggang saan lang yung gamit or halimbawa ang sakop nito is will be your, ah, will be your area, will be your school, your respondents, etc. Next is the limitations, the variable excluded. Ano yung mga hindi niyo sinama sa research ninyo na dapat kumbaga parang makakatulong sa study ninyo. That will be the limitation. So again, yung limitation, ano yung weaknesses and ano yung shortcomings ng research ninyo. And then, sa delimitation, ano yung hindi nyo nasama doon sa research ninyo na dapat mapapakinabangan siya or mas magiging stronger yung research ninyo if you will include that. So that is the scope, limitation, and the limitation of the study. So let's see, ano yung example? Ayan. Dito, scope and limitations lang yung kasama niya. Ayan, sa first paragraph, nilagay niya lang doon is yung ano yung topic nila. Yung sabi ko sa inyo, before you proceed in discussing yung subchapter, you have to state first the introduction kung ano yung scope limitation. So this will be the scope. The study is focused specifically within the locality of rural health unit, sino yung target household, ano yung imbestigahan nila sa research. And next, yung limitation nila is saan lang sila limited, ano lang yung weakness, ano yung shortcomings ng research nila. So, ito yan. Kaya dalawa lang yung paragraph kasi wala silang the limitation. So, in our research, I required you to do the limitation, the scope, and the limitation. Okay? So, I am expecting na three paragraph under nito ang mababasa ko. Okay, so let's now proceed to the significance of the study. So, medyo malapit na tayong matapos sa chapter 1. Okay, so significance of the study. So this section provides the practical values the study has, specifically pointing out to whom the study will be most useful or beneficiaries and why the study would be useful to them. So when we say significance of the study, sino-sino yung mga sino-sino yung mga tao or community na mapapakinabangan yung research ninyo. And from there, ano yung mapapakinabangan nila? Yun yung sinasabi nating significance of the study. The example of this is the teachers, kung sa school yung research ninyo, the students, the principals, the school, and also the community. Tapos, kunwari, nakalagay nyo dun the teacher, ano yung mabe-benefit ng teacher na yun sa research ninyo. So, this is the example. So, let's go in our example. Ayan. For example here, di ba, family planning yung kanilang research. So, number one daw na magbe-benefit sa kanila is the local government units, which is the LGUs. So, nakalagay dyan, local government units. So, eto na, local authorities can use the insight to allocate resources more effectively, targeted specific groups that are underserved, and improve the infrastructure and education related to the family planning. So, ayun, nakalagay doon sino-sino yung magbe-benefit and ano yung mapapakinabangan nila doon sa research ninyo. Okay, so ayun, yan yung significance of the study. So let's now proceed to our last um last part of our chapter 1. That is the definition of the terms. So when we see definition of terms, meron tayong tinatawag na operational definition of variables or that is ODV. Okay, operational definition of variables. Kapag sinabi sa inyo na operational definition of variables, that is also stands for the definition of terms. So here, the word operational refers to how the word term was used in the study. So sinasabi dito, hindi porket definition of terms. For example, ang ginamit ninyo is school. So, di ba merong merong school of fish. Ayan. So, ang pinopoint ko lang dito is, hindi porket my word, ang gagawin nyo na is hanapin niyo na siya sa dictionary kung ano yung definition niya or hanapin niyo sa Google kung ano yung definition niya. No, you have to identify and you have to give the meaning based on how you use that word in your research. Okay? Kung paano niyo siya ginamit. Kaya nga tinatawag natin siyang operational. How the word or the term was used in the study. So, at the same time, the variables are the elements essential to study. So these are two ways in defining the term. So we have the conceptual or the operational definition. So when we say the conceptual definition, this is the meaning of the term that is based on how it is defined in the dictionary or the encyclopedia. So sinabi ko diba sa inyo, so when we say conceptual, ito yung definition na nagaling sa dictionary, nagaling sa Google, nagaling sa encyclopedia and so on. So when we say operational definition, the term is based on how it was used in the study. Ito, dinefine ninyo kung paano nyo ginamit yung word na yun sa study. In the definition of terms, ang nare-require lang natin dito is ano yung mga words na nakalagay ninyo sa title. Okay? Again, ang ilalagay nyo lang terms at i-identify nyo lang yung meaning is kung ano lang yung nakalagay ng mga terms sa title ninyo. Okay, so next here, in the conceptual definition, for example, is face-to-face. It is when the people involved are being close together and looking directly at each other. Sa operational definition, the face-to-face is, this refers to one of the modalities used in learning delivery in which the teacher and the student should be in the same place or setting such as the classroom, di ba? Kung conceptual siya, kung titingnan mo siya kung ano yung definition ng face-to-face, oh, ito naman yung face-to-face na magkakasama kayo ng friends mo, ng family mo, that is face-to-face. Kapag kasi sa operational, most especially if nasa school tayo, ang term natin sa face-to-face is a modality of learning. Yun. So, yun yung tinutukoy ko sa inyo. it doesn't mean na kapag ang dinefine niyo is family, yun na agad. Pare-parehas tayo ng definition ng family. You have to identify it, how you use it in your study. So that is the definition of terms. Okay, so that's the end of the chapter 1. So I hope you learn something and you can create your chapter 1. Okay, so before we proceed to the um next chapter, I have here also the another format on how you can write your chapter 1. Let me just okay. Ito. Diba sinabi ko sa inyo kanina, ito kasi na-revise na natin ha, I'm so sorry. Ito is background of the study. So, ang pangalan ng chapter 1 natin is background of the study and we have the introduction. So, di ba, pwedeng ito yung gamitin ninyo or pwedeng yung isa. Okay, kung saan kayo mas madadalian. Dito kasi sa introduction, ang kailangan ko lang per bullet is per paragraph. You have to include there the overview of the topic. Next, second paragraph is the importance and relevance of the study. And the third one is the contextual background information. So, di ba, ito na-discuss ko na rin naman halos kaparehas lang. Pero ito kasi mas pinasimplify siya. Again, yung per bullet niya is um, ito, per bullet is per state, per paragraph. Okay? Statement of the problem, ayan, clearly define research problem, specific issues or questions the study aims to address. So you have to be careful in stating your problem kasi ito yung medyo fina-focusan ko na um, nag-focus ako dyan. So objectives of the study, we have the general objectives and the specific objectives. Di ba sinabi ko sa inyo kanina na yung objectives of the study ninyo is i-convert nyo lang yung statement of the problem ninyo into statement or into sentence. Kasi di ba ang statement of the problem natin is in a question type. Okay? So, hypothesis, statement of the hypothesis to be tested. So, again, ang nire-record ko lang dito is dalawa lang. You have to provide me alternative hypothesis and the null hypothesis. Okay. Sa significance of the study, I don't really require you to put everything or everyone in the significance of the study. Ano lang yung sino lang yung mga makikinabang ng research ninyo, scope limitations and the limitations. Ito ha. Ayan, boundaries of the study, the limitations, and ano pa nga yung sinabi nating the limitations last time, excluded variable. And then the definition of terms, the key terms used in the study and their definitions. Okay, so ito lang yung pinaka kailangan ko sa chapter 1, which is the background of the study. So again, I will end our discussion here for chapter 1. So you can be able to watch the per chapter. So hindi nyo na kailangan balik-balikan kung nasan ba diniscuss ni ma'am yung chapter 1 and then to chapter 2. So, I will end or I will make a recorded discussion. Ano, nasan yung chapter 1 discussion for chapter 2. Okay? So, ayun. So, I just want to be clear lang, again, in my orientation earlier, I am allowing you to create or to finish your study, to finish your chapter. So, you can finish chapter 1, 2, 3, and then send you sa akin, or you can finish the chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The risk lang is baka hindi sa akin ma-approve yung 3. So, you have to repeat it again, yung pag-data gathering ninyo para maulit nyo yung 4 and 5. Okay? So again, after I send all the recorded discussion, you can watch, you can study, and then to those groups na approve na yung title, you can now proceed in creating or finishing your chapter 1 to 3. Okay, so that's all for the chapter 1. Thank you very much.